Welcome to another episode of Full Transparency with Donni Wiggins. You guys, I am on one today. Let me tell you something. I was just sitting here talking about loving myself, and I was having a moment of just really feeling grateful by the amount of love that I have for myself. I was telling Bree and Reese that I just love myself. I just love myself. I just love myself. I just love myself. And it's so important to me to say that and to remind myself of this. It's so important for me to remind you to love on yourself, and love on yourself, because there are so many things and people in the world that would try to convince you that you should feel bad for loving yourself the way that you love yourself. There are people who will make you feel like you are conceited for loving yourself. There are people who will make you feel like you are stuck up for loving yourself. There are people who will try to make you feel like you are arrogant for loving yourself. And it is the most unreasonable thought. It is the most unproductive thought, because loving yourself is going to be the catalyst that you use throughout your entire life to make decisions. When you love yourself, you make better choices for yourself. You attract better people. You attract better opportunities. You attract better circumstances. You repel those things that are not for you. You repel opportunities that are not for you. When you love yourself the way that I love myself, you understand clearly what your core values are. You know what your boundaries are, and you have no problem implementing a boundary against someone or implementing a boundary in a situation, because you know that you're only doing it out of self-love. You don't mean any harm to anybody else. It has nothing to do with anybody else and how they feel, what they think, and what they need. It's about you and how you need to love yourself. So that's not even what I intended to talk about today, but I just felt in my spirit that I needed to remind you to love yourself. So as usual, I have all these notes and all these things that I want to talk about, but I made a post recently on social media, and I was talking about motivation. And people ask me all the time what motivates me. I'm going to go to that post real quick. People are always asking me what motivates me. And it's one of those questions that I understand why you're asking the question. I understand that many people feel demotivated. I understand that many people need something, like you need something to make you move, to make you take action. I get it. I understand that that is the mindset of most people, right? On the other side, though, when I hear this question and I hear people who are saying that they struggle to stay motivated, or they haven't done something, or if they've stayed in this pitiful situation because of lack of motivation, it's like I'm looking at you and it's with the most blank stare, respectfully, because I just don't understand why you even feel like you need motivation to change your life. Is it not enough that you're experiencing what you're experiencing? Is it not enough that you can't experience what you want to experience? Is it not enough that you simply have a goal, that you actually do the work? I'm going to be honest with you. I am not motivated most days. When it was time to come in here and sit down for this episode today, I wasn't motivated to do this. It is raining outside right now in Atlanta, Georgia. It is absolutely storming outside in Atlanta, Georgia. I was in the comfort of my home, tucked into my covers. It's dark. There's no, I wanted to stay in my bed. I did. And I could have, because I have enough episodes recorded that we could release episodes for the next 6 weeks without me coming back into the studio. But there's a couple of things that's going to keep me going. Number one, my commitment to doing what I said that I would do. I have goals. And in order to accomplish these goals, I have to stay consistent with the activity that I committed to. Number two, integrity. So I am in a season of operating at a high level of integrity. And that really means doing what I said I'm going to do and being committed to that at all times. So I'll be honest with you. I was in my bed this morning a little later than I typically am. I'm under the covers. You know how it is when it's storming outside. Now imagine you live in a high-rise building with floor-to-ceiling windows, and the rain is just pouring, and you can see it from the sky to the ground. That's the vibe that I had going on this morning, right? My dog wasn't begging to be walked super early. The temperature was perfect. That other side of the pillow was just cool enough for me to flip it over and have a few more minutes, right? So I took those few more minutes. And when I got out of the bed to prepare to come to record today's podcast, I had less time allotted for preparation than I normally would. And you know what I almost did? I almost didn't make my bed. And I know that that's so small and insignificant to most people, to many people. I almost didn't make my bed, and that was an integrity decision for me. As I was walking around my bed, I instantly stopped and I said, no. You committed to doing the things that are simple to do, because it's the practice of the things that are simple to do that makes the things that are not simple to do easy for me to do. So I went right back and I made up my bed. It doesn't matter. It's not my bed's fault that I decided to take a few extra minutes. It's nobody else's fault but my own. But it's also my responsibility to take accountability for my decisions and remain integral in every single thing that I do. I wasn't motivated to get out of the bed. It's my commitment. I wasn't motivated to make the bed. It's my integrity. And the biggest thing that keeps me going outside of motivation, or maybe these are the things that motivate me, but the biggest thing that keeps me going is that I made a promise to my daughter when she was 7 years old that life would look very different for her in her future than it did in that present moment. And I have to honor that promise. I have honored that promise over the years. I made a promise to her that we would never lose another home. I would never have another vehicle repossessed. Her prized possessions would never be able to be taken from her. I made a promise to her outside of the material things that I could offer her that I would become the type of woman, not just mother, but that I would become the type of woman that she would be proud of. And that is what I work every single day to be. Even now that my daughter has just recently graduated college, she's 21 years old. Even at this phase, it's your job. My job in that way is never done. It is not done until I take my last breath, and hopefully the work that I've done will continue to set the tone for her. Even at this time, I am in a new phase of my life. She's in a new phase of her life. And the decisions that I make, I am always considering, what kind of example am I setting for my daughter? Also, I am motivated by giving my daughter, or becoming the type of woman that my mother is proud to brag about. I want my daughter to desire to be a woman like my mom, or like myself. I want her to be able to look at me and say, you know what? I admire the Michelle Obamas. I admire the Oprah Winfreys. I admire the Beyoncés and whoever she admires in her life. But my mom was my first role model. She set the first example. She showed me the first example of what a woman is supposed to be. That is what I have worked my entire life for. So when you are about to fix your mouth to say what motivates you, how do you keep going when you don't feel like going? Listen, the answer is you have to keep going. How do you do that? You attach it to something that's bigger than you. You attach it to something that's bigger than money, because let me assure you of this. Money will never be enough to keep you going. There will come a time in your life where you're going to have the exact amount of money that you asked for. And when you get it, you're going to be able to accomplish that one thing that you wanted to accomplish with that amount of money. But then after that transaction is complete, what next? Is the next goal another amount of money? Is it another thing? Things and money are not going to be the things that keep you happy, that keep you going. People every single day that have a large amount of money are depressed and being treated and committing suicide and completely walking away from money, because money is never the answer. You have to attach your goal to something that's so big that it's purposeful in your life. It's so big that you can't live with yourself if you don't accomplish this thing. I could not live with myself being a subpar mom. I could not live with myself having our things taken away from us in my child's face. I could not live with being a mother who was not a good example of what a woman was supposed to be. I couldn't live with that. I couldn't live with knowing all the sacrifices that my parents made for me, and then I grow up and become an adult and turn out to be less than what I want to be. I could not live with that. I could not live with continuing to tell my daughter to go to school every single day and you better get good grades. You better be thinking about your future. You better have your head on straight, just for me to be at home doing the opposite of what I was telling her to do. I could not continue to encourage her to go for straight A's while I'm at home secretly and privately making F's. That's my motivation. That's what keeps me motivated. It is bigger than any amount of money, any number of clothes, any size brand or label, any vehicle that I could drive, any home that I could ever buy. What does my life stand for? What does my life stand for? And that is what I attached it to. That is what keeps me going and keeps me motivated. So when I wake up in the day and I don't feel like doing what it is that I'm supposed to do, I can simply ask myself, girl, is this the representative that you want to put out there today? Is this in alignment with your better self, your best self, your highest self? No. But if I woke up and my goal was attached to money, I could open the app on my phone. I could open my banking app on my phone and look at the amount of money that I currently possess. And if my goal is attached to money, then I got enough. I have enough of that in the bank. I could tell myself, well, yeah, we're good. I can make up for it next month. I can make up for it next week. I can make up for it tomorrow. And I'd stay in the bed. I'd stay on the sofa. I'd stay being average. I'd stay running away from the work that I'm supposed to be doing. But my goals aren't attached to money. I have an income goal, right? I have a tangibles goal, but the overarching, the purpose of why I am doing all of this is not attached to money. I am constantly seeking the better version of myself. I am constantly seeking what's next for me. I am constantly seeking my opportunity to be written about in history books. I am constantly seeking evolution. I am constantly seeking growth. And when I'm looking to be motivated by something, I am motivated about who I could become. I'm looking at, well, do I stay the same today or do I become 1% better every single day? And you hear this and I say this and it sounds perfect. It sounds like I do things perfectly every single day. I don't do things perfectly any day of the week. I do things intentionally though. I am consistently intentional. And I think that's where a lot of people are missing the mark about what you're being intentional about doing. Some of us are intentional about hanging out with our friends. Some of us are intentional about getting our 8 hours of sleep every single day. Some of us are intentional about staying committed to our weekly hair appointments and self-care appointments. Some of us are intentional about spending time with our children. Some of us are intentional about making sure they go to work and they do their job with excellence. But are you intentional about becoming the best version of yourself? Are you intentional about your own evolution? Are you intentional about doing something so big with your life that the results outlast you? I know. You know what I know? I know that God has called me to do something great. I was just on the phone with my cousin Candace earlier this week, and I told her, she was asking me about decisions that I've made in my life. She was asking me about things that I have sacrificed and that I have gone without. And now we're coming full circle and I'm on the back end and now I'm being intentional about seeking these things. And she's asking me about why I didn't do it earlier in life. And it's because I believe with my whole heart that I wasn't just called to just do Full Transparency podcast. I wasn't just called to just do Social Proof podcast. I wasn't just called to be a successful entrepreneur. Hey, are you a service-based entrepreneur that helps your clients or customers get some type of result, but you're struggling to post and communicate your message on social media? You don't know how to type a caption that connects and gets people's attention and converts them from just someone who's following you on social to becoming your customer or your client? Great news is that's my superpower. So I'm sending you 3 text messages every single day, excluding major holidays, directly to your phone of exactly what you need to post to get people to buy and convert them into clients and customers. All you have to do is join my program, Post to Paid, and you can do so by texting the words Post to Paid to 404-737-2767. And the best news is just $37 a month. So hurry up, send me the text. I'm looking for it now. I know that the calling on my life is so big that Donni Wiggins is becoming and evolving into one of the greats. I am absolutely going to be a woman that's written about in history books. My legacy will outlive me. My legacy will outlive my daughter. My legacy will outlive my grandchildren. I know that the calling on my life is so big that I had to make decisions that didn't look right to other people. I know that the calling on my life is so big that certain people wouldn't understand what I was willing to go without. I know that the calling on my life is so big that I had to block out things that appeared to make sense in the present moment because I knew that I had a bigger mission to accomplish in a future moment. It makes sense to hang out. It makes perfect sense to hang out. It makes perfect sense to have a standing appointment with your girls for brunch every Sunday. It does. It makes perfect sense for me to, in my 20s and 30s, to be chasing men and chasing boys and really being crazy about that. It makes total sense for me to have done what other people considers living their life. Y'all, look, if you're doing it, I'm here to tell you that it makes perfect sense. But if you are a person who, like me, you know that there is a bigger calling on your life, and you can't do what everybody does. You can't do what everybody else does. I truly believe there's a huge calling on everybody's life. I believe that. I don't believe that one person is any more special than the other. I think that there are just a few of us that are willing to answer the call that is on our lives. And you have to ask yourself, am I answering the call or am I ignoring it? I ignored it for many years. My life hasn't been perfect. I partied. I did things. I am incredibly grateful for my journey. I have lived and I will continue to live. I am living. But right now, my focus is on evolving into the version of me that motivates you, evolving into the version of me that inspires and impacts you. Before I sat down in here today, there was a young lady, I think her name is Latrice. When I walked into the studio, she was walking out of the studio. We spoke, I gave her a hug. A few moments later, she came back in, she circled back and she said, Donni, I gotta tell you, I had to come back. I know you're about to record your podcast. I know you're about to deliver a message, but I had to circle back. And I had to ask, text Dave for me real quick. I want to make sure that I have his name correct. I have her name correct. She said, I had to make sure that I came back to tell you that you are the reason that I am in this studio. You are the reason that I said, forget it. I'm going for it. You are the reason that I have sat down now and I've recorded 5 podcast episodes because I saw you do it first. You are the evidence that with the lack of perfection, it can be done. You are the evidence that with the decision to be committed to something, it can absolutely be done. So I came in here and I did it and I'm doing it and I'm going to continue to do it. She committed to 100 episodes being her ugly episode. She knows that her first 100 episodes, she's doing it ugly and she's okay because she knows that it's about practice. She knows that it's about repetition and she knows that there will never be a moment in time that she's going to execute perfectly. I am focused and committed to being the woman, the CEO, the human, the mother, the entrepreneur, the person that encourages you to make decisions like that. I am committed to I know that somebody has to be the example. Somebody has to be the example. Dr. Martin Luther King understood that somebody had to step up and fight for freedom because too many people were scared. He knew that he had to go out there first and show you that it could be done. And if he showed you that it could be done and he made it home at night, maybe you'll come and do it too. He understood that. And by no means am I comparing myself to a Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but I am Donni Wiggins. I am Donni Wiggins, and I know that I'm up next. I know that I'm up right now. I know that my voice has been powerful enough to have you tuned in right here, right now. I know that you right now are thinking about, wow, I am inspired by her voice. I am impacted by that voice. I know that you have identified other people right now that are inspiring for you, that are impactful for you, that are encouraging you, that are motivating you. I know that you have everything it takes to do the same thing, but for whatever reason, you're not. For whatever reason, you're not doing it. For whatever reason, you're staying the same. For whatever reason, you're waiting to see somebody else do it. Well, guess what? I volunteer. I volunteer to be the person who does it first. I volunteer to go out there and aim for something bigger than I've ever aimed for before and come back and let you know that it's safe. Yeah, it works. I volunteer to be the person that makes decisions because my dream is so big so that I can come back and pull you along. I volunteer to be the guinea pig on camera and you get to see the moves that I'm making in real time so you know that it can happen for you too. I volunteer to be first. I volunteer to be next. I volunteer to be now. We got her name yet? I'm pretty sure it's Latrice. I volunteer to be now. And there are so many of us that have the same ability. You have the same ability. But for whatever reason, you're still searching for motivation. You have the same ability, but for whatever reason, you still need somebody to pump you up and hype you up. You still need to hear from family and friends that they believe in you. You still need to hear from people that you love, that they support you. You're still looking for somebody's validation when it's inside you the whole time. First of all, I did not intend to talk about this today, but you needed this message today. I know you do. I know you do. I know you do. And let me tell you something. Don't take this message and do nothing with it. Don't let today be another day that you watch another podcast and you take another note and you're over there in tears and you're feeling yourself and we're vibing right now. We're having a moment. Do not let this be another time that you take all of that energy and you walk away and you do nothing with it. I got to be honest with y'all. I'm tired of those of you who are doing nothing with it. Whatever your it is, I am tired of those of you who are doing nothing with it. And you know why I have the right to be tired? Because I was one time a person who was doing nothing with it. I was doing nothing with my gift. I was doing nothing with my calling. I was doing nothing with my talent and my skill set. And I had to become sick and tired of being a person that possessed so much. I had to be sick and tired of being a person that desired so much. But the possession and the desire wasn't manifesting into anything because I was doing nothing with it. I took all the notes. I went to all the conferences. I got all the courses. I went to all the classes. I had all the motivation around me. And in the moment, I'm feeling emotional. I got the tears falling. I see my future. I'm imagining my future. I'm planning it out. I see it. But the moment that I am outside of the environment that was motivating me, I lost it all. I did nothing, which is why motivation is not going to get you to your next level. Motivation can't answer the call for you. Motivation can't be responsible for your execution. Motivation can't be responsible for your output. Motivation cannot be responsible for your end result because motivation is temporary. It's temporary. I think it was Jim Rohn who said, motivation is like taking a bath. It's temporary. You need it every single day. You can't take one bath and be fresh the whole week. You can't be motivated Monday and expect that same motivation to be carrying you through on Friday. Motivation is something that happens every single day. But you know what's greater than motivation? Dedication. Dedication. What can you be dedicated to? What cause, what thing, what purpose can you be dedicated to? And you're so dedicated to that it doesn't matter that you don't feel like doing it. It just has to get done because you're dedicated. For example, a mother, a father, a parent, you don't feel like being dedicated to it. Every single day, you don't feel like getting up and fixing your kids' breakfast. You don't feel like getting up and getting them ready for school. I know there are some of you, because I've been there, done that a couple of times. I know there are some of you that sometimes you wake up and you're like, I really wish that I could just keep the kids at home today instead of sending them to school because I really feel like laying in bed. I really feel like resting. I don't want to be dedicated to it. But because you are, because you're a dedicated parent, every single day, Monday through Friday, you get your kids ready and you sit them at the table for homeschool or you send them away to school. That's dedication. You don't get a day off from being a parent. Well, you don't get a day off from operating in your purpose and pursuing your dream and using your gift. You don't get a day off from that. And then there's somebody who's listening to that message and all they heard me say is you don't get a day off. And their first mind goes to, oh, well, sometimes you need breaks because breaks are healthy. That's not the conversation that we're having right now, babe. We're not talking about time management. We're talking about dedication. We're talking about purpose. We're talking about evolution and evolving into a person that is their absolute best self. We're talking about answering a calling. Time management, Organization, we'll talk about that in another episode. So I don't want you to miss the message today. You know what else is bigger than motivation? Determination. Determination is single-handedly one of my cheat codes. When I didn't know how to do something, I was determined to figure it out. When I wasn't sure that I was going to get a result, I was determined to make it happen. When I felt unworthy, I was determined to prove how worthy I was. When I felt like people were judging me, I was determined to create the narrative in which I would be judged by. I choose. I decide. I am determined and I am going to make it happen. Nobody else is going to decide for me. I am so determined that I don't even see your decision for me in my life as an option for me. I am going to make it happen. It doesn't matter what I don't know. It doesn't matter that I don't have all the information. I'm going to give you the information that I do have. It doesn't matter that I don't understand the technology. I'm going to focus on the technology that I do know. I'm going to simplify the process and get a result because I'm that determined. It may not look like I want it to look in the next 5 years or 10 years. Donni Wiggins today and who I am is nowhere near the vision that I have for 5 years from now, Donni. Ooh, 5 years from now, Donni is a problem. 5 years from now, Donni is a problem. Today's Donni ain't motivated to do the work, though. She's dedicated. She's determined. Something else that's bigger than motivation is discipline. 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 An indication of how disciplined you are is the activity you do when nobody is looking, when nobody is at home, when nobody's watching, when nobody has a front row seat, when nobody has the ability to judge you. That is discipline. I remember, Bree, back in the day. When I was a young mom and I'm living with, I'm engaged. Me, Dage, and her father, Jamil, are living in a house. And I would talk to him about these dreams that I had, like these big things that I wanted to do. And I'm on maternity leave and I'm doing these things. And I remember being a person who at that time talked a big game. I'm just talking. He's gone back to work. Meanwhile, me and Deja, she's a baby. At that time, I'm laying on the couch. I haven't gotten dressed yet. He's already at work. He left. I haven't gotten dressed. I haven't cleaned up these bottles. I got the diapers in a bag right here by the sofa because that's where we've been laying all day. My breakfast plate is still right there. My lunch sandwich is still half eaten right there. But I knew he was going to pull up 5:15. At 5:12, I'm jumping up, cleaning everything up. At 5:12, I'm clearing up all these bottles. I'm putting this food away. I'm putting on clothes. I've refreshed myself and I act like I've been being that person the whole day. When really, I had no discipline. I was motivated by knowing that somebody was coming home and would judge me, right? And that's what it would be. And that discipline, how you do anything is how you do everything. And so when I left that situation, I would then go on, we went through a period of foreclosure and I'm living with my mom. Fast forward a couple of years, I'm living with my mom. And I remember being in my bedroom and she's off. She's going to work. She's away. She's going to work. And when she's getting ready for work, I'm up and I'm moving around, acting like I'm doing some stuff. She leaves, she goes to work. She comes back. I heard that car pull up in the driveway. I'm jumping up. My laptop is open. I'm typing some stuff. I'm looking real intense. There were times I even pretended to have phone conversations to look like I was doing something that matched what I told everybody I wanted to do and become. But the truth is I had no discipline. But you know what's crazy about that? What's crazy about that is even with that very limited amount of effort, I was still getting a result. I was still making some progress. I was still moving forward with that very limited amount. Now, I was fooling myself into believing that I was doing something when truthfully, I was being lazy. I wasn't maximizing my time. I was waiting until the very last minute. I was the queen of procrastination. That's who I was at that time. And then I had a moment of suddenly something has to change. Something suddenly has to happen faster. Suddenly something has to happen at a bigger level. And when that mindset started to come, I would then attract a circle of other people who were moving at optimum speed. I would then attract a mentor. And that mentor taught me discipline. That mentor taught me what a morning routine looked like, what a nighttime routine looked like, what a work routine looked like, what a personal development routine looked like. He taught me what mindset looked like. He taught me these things that I said, oh, okay, this is different. This is different. What I used to think was obsessive behavior in other people was really just discipline. But I lacked so much discipline that discipline to me looked like obsession. And I didn't want anything that had to do with obsession. It wasn't obsession. It was discipline. I am disciplined. So I started to create these habits. And wouldn't you know that a little bit of discipline will get you a much bigger result? A little bit of discipline will get you a much bigger result. So on the days that I didn't feel motivated, on the days that I wanted to still pretend to be doing what I said I was doing, discipline had to kick in. Wherever you lack motivation, you need to deploy discipline. What else is bigger than motivation? The fact that you really have no other choice. Like, seriously, what other choice do you have? What other choice do you have than to be great? What other choice do you have than to change your life? What other choice do you have than to be a better person, a stronger person, a smarter person, a more productive person, a person with a higher net worth, a person with higher level of impact, a person with a bigger voice? What other choice do you have? Like, seriously, because I know you said it. I know with your mouth you've said the words, I don't really have a choice. I have no other choice. I know you've said it, but have you actually thought about what that looks like? Have you actually sat down and thought about, if in 5 years I am the same person today in the same environment with the same circumstances with no growth whatsoever, what does that look like for me in 5 years? Meanwhile, people around me are growing. My kids are getting older. My parents are getting older. My friends we're all getting older. I'm just staying the same. What does that look like in the next 5 years if life for me is the exact same thing? So earlier this year, I'm at a Super Bowl party, right? I'm at a Super Bowl party and I run into this guy that I hung out with. I won't even say I dated. Like, we spent time together. This guy, I owned a clothing store, and he would come into my clothing store all the time, and he would drop a bag. He's trying to impress me, right? He would drop a bag, and he would come into my clothing store, and he really, for a long period of time, like, helped me carry the store. He would drop so much money in the store, but he was only doing it because he liked me. He was obviously living a street life, right? Obviously living a street life. And so I couldn't date him seriously because I wasn't willing to risk what that could involve, like dating somebody who lived a street life, a hustler, a drug dealer, right? But he would come into the store, and every now and then we go to lunch and we hang out, and it was cool. He became a friend. Well, fast forward 2 or 3 years later, he would go right back to jail for drugs, right? So we completely lost touch. We had very, very scarce talking over the 2 years, but when I closed my clothing store, I kind of lost contact with him. Well, let's see. So that was 2011. 2023, what would that be? 2023 minus 2011 is how many years? Do the math. That was 2011. How many years? 12 years? 12 years. 12 years later, I would not see this person. I run into him at a Super Bowl party. Super excited to see that he's a free man. He's walking free. And you look great. He looks great. He's super excited to see me. Donni, you look great. I've been seeing you on the internet. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, great. So we exchanged a couple of words. Later, he would come over to the bar and buy me and my friends some drinks. And we're just having conversation. His entire conversation was based around things that we used to talk about in 2011. His entire conversation was about the woman that I was in 2011. And I could no longer relate to that conversation. What are we really talking about here? He was talking about things like, Oh, you didn't take me seriously back then. Oh, you wouldn't date me back then because of X, Y, and Z. Like, sir, let's elevate this conversation. Let's have a bigger conversation. And I remember sitting in that moment and I'm becoming irritated because we are different people now. The conversation about us dating, that's old. That's more than a decade old. The conversation about what I used to drive and what I used to look like and all those things, that is a dead conversation. And then he said to me, why you acting funny like you've changed? Why are you acting funny like you've changed? Sir, 12 years later, I have absolutely changed. You have been void in my life for the last 12 years. The Donni Wiggins that you knew then is very, very different than the Donni Wiggins that you know now. But the you that I'm looking at right now is the same exact man. And in that moment, I felt so sorry for him. I felt so sorry that his journey did not allow him to take advantage of the opportunity for growth. I felt so sad for him because he's a parent, and the experience that his children must be having, experiencing a father who is the same man he was 12 years ago, it has to suck. It has to suck. And still, he's dressed the same. His haircut is the same. He's doing the same things for money. And his conversation hasn't changed. And it has to feel like such a prison. He went to prison externally. He went to prison physically, not realizing that he was building his own internal prison by not picking up those books and taking advantage of those resources and growing and evolving. There's way too many people right now that you don't even need to walk inside of a prison physically ever in your life. You don't need to walk inside of a prison to experience one because you're building one for yourself. You're building one every single day by feeling like you're not going to do something because you're not motivated. You're building your own prison every single day by not taking advantage of the opportunities for you to grow and expand and evolve. You are building your own prison every single day by telling yourself always and reminding yourself about the worst parts of you. You are building your prison yourself by your commitment to staying the same. And just like with him, I got to say for you, I feel sorry for you. I am sad for you. And I hope that the way that I show up every single day, the way that I'm living my life, the way that I am putting my journey on display will give you your moment of suddenly, just like it gave me my moment of suddenly. I hope that you'll see me as your voice of hope. I hope that you see somebody, even if it isn't me, as your voice of hope. Because the voice of hope is what will set you on your path to freedom. You don't deserve to be in the prison that you have built for yourself, telling yourself that you're not ready, telling yourself that you're not good enough, telling yourself that you have to be perfect, telling yourself that you don't know enough, telling yourself that you don't deserve it, telling yourself that you're not ready yet. That is the prison that you are building. Many people are living not in the walls of a federal penitentiary, not in the walls of a county jail. Your county jail is right here between your left ear and your right ear. You know what's in between your left ear and your right ear? Your brain and the thoughts that you're thinking, the things that you are allowing to penetrate your psyche every single day, the things that you are holding in your subconscious every single day. That's what's in between your left ear and your right ear. You know what else is in between your left ear and your right ear? Your mouth. Your mouth. The things that you are speaking to yourself, about yourself, of yourself, the things that you are entertaining yourself with, the things that you are communicating to other people about you. The things that you are communicating to other people about other people, the things that you are communicating to other people about opportunities. You know what else is in between your left ear and your right ear? Your eyes. The things that you are focused on right now, the things that you are looking at, the things that you are watching on TV, the things that you are seeing in your environment, the picture that you're painting of yourself, about your future. The prison that most people will absolutely experience in this lifetime are the blocks and the obstacles and the walls that they build between their left ear and their right ear. And I'm telling you that through your thoughts, your eyes, and your mouth, you can be set free. You don't need motivation. You need discipline. You don't need motivation. You need determination. You don't need motivation. You need to just do the work. You need to decide. You need to decide. You don't need motivation. You need a decision. You need to make a decision. What am I going to do differently right now? What am I going to do at a higher level? What am I going to stop doing altogether? What no longer deserves my energy? What's building more obstacles? What's building more challenges? What's keeping me stuck in this mental prison? Oftentimes, the enemy is your inner me. Don't miss that. Your enemy is your inner me. Because nobody is responsible for saving you. Nobody is responsible for holding you accountable. Nobody is responsible for giving you the push if you have access to that. If that is the environment that you're in, that's a bonus. But only you are responsible. We were born by ourselves. Even if you're a twin or a triplet, only one of y'all came out at a time. Only one. You were brought into this world by yourself to accomplish, to discover, to identify your God-given mission. And it is up to you to live your life in a way every single day that you actually discover it. And once you discover it, it is up to you every single day that you actually seek to make it happen. And that's what we do here. That's what we do. And that's why there are so many people through the history of time that just stand out. There are so many people that seem to have the it factor. There are so many people who seem to be larger than life. There are so many people who just impact you and affect you in a way, that you've never even met them. You've never even met them. You don't know them in real life, but something about their voice, something about their energy, something about the calling that's on their life resonates with you in a way. And it's because they picked up the phone and they answered, and they answer every single day, and they make the decision every single day, and they're determined every single day, and they're disciplined every single day. And even if they fall out of discipline, they know how to find it back. They don't stay falling out of it for long, because they know what they are here to do. So I'm going to ask you again, are you going to keep sitting around waiting to be motivated before you go out and build the life that you're supposed to live? Are you going to continue to sit around and desire and need motivation for you to realize that you need to make more money? Are you going to still be depending on motivation for you to say, you know what, I don't have enough, I couldn't survive? Are you going to be the person that continues to use motivation or your lack thereof as your excuse for why you're not doing what you are supposed to be doing? Are you going to be that person? Are you going to be that person? I want you to drop in the comments right now. I'm pushing past motivation. I am pushing past motivation. I am pushing past motivation. I am pushing past motivation. I need to know that you know that. I need to know that you believe that. I need to know that you understand why it is so important that you don't bet your entire future against your own motivation. It's so important. It's so important. You deserve to be the voice of hope for somebody else. You deserve to be the person that changed the dynamic of your entire family structure. You deserve to accomplish every single dream that exists, either in the freedom that you've built between these two ears. You deserve to escape the prison that you've created yourself between your left ear and your right ear. This has been another amazing episode of Full Transparency with Donni Wiggins. Please drop a comment in the comments below and let me know how this episode has impacted you and what you plan to do immediately right now as a result of tuning into this episode with me this week. If you are a person who needs some business coaching, you are a course creator, a coach, or a consultant, and you need some development, go to my website, www.sixfigureedu.com. Let us help you get your start. Let us help you take it to the next level. Let us help you discover the greatness within you. Donni Wiggins, you guys, I'm out.